treat. Because just named APCA's Spoken Word Artist of the Year for the 3rd year in a row, the APCA Project continues to be a wrecking force in the college market. Having booked over 500 shows in the last 3 years, they continue to amaze audiences all over the country. They show absolutely no signs of stopping. Check this out. An HBO deaf poet, a cancer survivor, and, this is amazing, a soon-to-be TEDx speaker, Asia and his brother-in-law, Jolin, are going to show you why they never cease to amaze. Represented by Just Wicked Entertainment, give it up for the Asia Project!
There's never a proper response when you're sitting at the doctor's office as he proceeds to tell you those are cancer cells they found in your body. My doctor doesn't wait for one, but rather he takes my distant stare into the sterile white walls as his cue to tell me to stay positive. After all, research showed that if treated early, testicular cancer has a 95% survival rate, and just then I was tempted to say, 95% means nothing if destiny doesn't intend me to be a part of that statistic. But I bite my tongue. Kept my eyes fixated across the room, waiting until he was done. Explaining the process of what's meant to happen next, he says step 1 involves cutting a 4-inch incision beneath my belly. Then with a probe, guide the entire right testicle up through the pelvic region. Extract it through the incision. Now imagine there I am, pumped with anesthesia, counting down slowly from 10. Each second maliciously haunted by the disturbing thought that when I wake, I will never be whole again. Now it's off to step 2. Nauseated and confused, I quickly learned that Percocets and poetry writing just don't mix. But I pop them on the hour every hour, because as every hour ticks, the pain returns, radiates through nerves like tattoos being etched from the inside. So I gotta pop pills until I feel the pain begin to subside. My doctor says all I can do is wait until the incision heals, wait for the pathology report, wait to see if the cancer was caught in time, wait to get back to my right state of mind, wait for sanity, wait for a miracle, wait for a blessing. It's so unsettling that when it comes to cancer, there seems to be a lot of waiting for the unknown. I'm trying to stay positive, y'all. But being at home bedridden with boredom makes the mind wander. Imagination running rampant like a purse snatcher. Take it off with your high hopes, then carries it to the darkest alleys of your fears. And despite how hard you try to steer clear, there you are, shuffling in the dark, fingers fumbling for something to hold on to, facing the sky to give her some sort of rescue, pronouncing prayers that always seem to end with, what is it that you want me to do? Because when you're there, catching quick stares from the eyes of death, playing Russian roulette with alpha-feta protein levels and tumor markers, you can't help but wonder if God is even paying any sort of attention to the tribulations I'm facing. It's amazing how it's been 4 days since the surgery, and I still haven't had the courage to look at myself naked in the bathroom mirror. 4 days and still waiting on test results. 4 days and refusing to see visitors. 4 days. And my wife wakes me from sleep with a kiss on the cheek that suddenly tells me that God is still listening. And he speaks to me through her, tells me that nothing occurs without his touch. And though this episode right now might seem too much, just know that it's happening for a reason. To change me the same way he changes the season, because God doesn't give you dreams to taunt you, and God doesn't give you anything you can't handle, and God rebuilds, he doesn't dismantle. So here I am, broken but still beautiful, thankful to be blessed by the presence of family and friends, a loving girl, a beautiful audience, and a 4-inch scar that I now pass off as a stab wound I got from a knife fight because I'm hardcore like that. But I'm alive, and I've survived, so give me the choice to ride or die, and I'll spread my arms to the side to touch both ends of the earth. Damn right, me and my one testicle's taking over the world. Because when the wind blows next, only waiting can tell. But ask me what I learned from cancer, and I'll answer that sometimes you have to lose a part of you to find your whole self. What's going on, APCA? Y'all having a good time? Yes, sir. I love it. APCA is my home. I'm telling you. Yeah. Okay, everybody shut up now, because I only got 6 more minutes. All right, so Because I know I have to apologize in advance. I have to end my set with this poem. I usually like to end on a high note. However, due to time constraints, I can't do my set without at least doing this poem for my sister. I'm not going to explain to you what it's about. I'm just going to tell you the poem, and I hope it moves you as much as it moved me to write it. And I hope I don't get choked up and and screw it up because it's my most favorite poem right now. So here you go. When the snow falls in the winter, the woolly caterpillar crawls into a crevice and freezes to death. Its blood stops flowing, its lungs hardens into ice, its heart comes slowly to a halt. The heart is always the last to go. But when the snow melts in the spring, the ice thaws from its ventricles, the crystals dissolves from its lungs, and just as slowly as it died, the woolly caterpillar awakens and comes back to life. For 120 hours, we waited for my sister to wake up. My family mumbling prayers around the doctor who tells us she fell into a coma when a blood vessel hemorrhaged, and my father hasn't stopped praying since. My stepfather searching the eyes of doctors for the answers to those prayers. My siblings pushing me into the room as though I could perform a miracle. My mother making twin towers of my arms the way she crashes into them now, while I attempted to believe that my faith far exceeds science and God would awaken her somehow. Awaken, sweet sister. Tell me that my tears the size of mustard seeds will fall upon your cheek and move the mountain of swelling in your brain. Tell me that the same God who makes all things possible can still live up to his name, because right now that name belongs to your mother, who's cursing God for being too coward to make up his own mind as she stares at the medical forms granting the hospital permission to let you die. If he wants her, then take her, she says. Who am I to decide? And by her side is your fiancé, whose fists are stones he's ready to throw if the doctor mentions organ donation just one more time. But your father, he sits still praying at your bedside, wrapping rosaries around your hands and tucking prayer cards behind your neck. God will resurrect my daughter, he says. Please God, tell me she'll resurrect. How do I respond? How do I agree when the tubes of your IV intertwines around my throat, strangles my voice every time I plead? Awaken, sweet sister. Make this poem easier to write. Tonight, pull out the respirator in your throat and speak the words that will end this poem brighter than how it begun. Remove the tubes and we'll blow kisses into your veins, that you may know where the true source of your life comes from, how it comes from your heart, how in this hurricane world you broke it into tiny pieces, dropped them like care packages on our laps. You always had enough of it to give, which is why there are 200 people in the waiting room now, ready to give it back in case you need it to live. But on the 7th day, the doctor gave us the results of the last test my sister will ever take, and I swear I'm not built for earthquakes like that. My knees buckling like a bridge, my arms shaking too much to catch another one of my mother's crash landings. None of us was left standing. We were all falling through the cracks, falling until we hit the floor of her room that night. This is what rock bottom must look like. The nurse disconnecting her machines, our hands stretching to touch a part of her as we wailed, our tears dropping as fast as her heartbeat, our sanity vanishing with her breath. Faster it faded, my stepfather stroking her face. Faster it faded, my father presses her hand to his cheek. Faster it faded, we're still waiting on a miracle. Faster it faded, my face planted into my mother's belly. Mommy, this hurts. Faster it faded, and then it was finished. The monitors dropped to 0, and as her breath emptied and her heartbeat slowed, her fiancé removes the ring from her finger, ties it to his necklace, and says, how fitting. It was her heart that was the last to go. It was silent after that. Silent as my mother reaches over to close her daughter's eyes. My stepfather releases a long-awaited sigh. My sibling straightens the creases in her blanket while my father unravels the rosary from her hands, takes the prayer cards from behind her neck and slips them into his pocket, places a kiss on her forehead, her chest, and both her shoulders. Put in a good word to God for us, he says. And that's when I knew that all along we had failed to see the light at the end of this tunnel she was going through. Because while we were praying for her awakening, the awakening was really meant for us, to remind us that life is a coma we can still choose to wake up from. That faith means not having to wait for the sun to come, because sometimes the sun doesn't come, but we can still rise on our own. Her last breath has already blown life into the candles of our bones, with nothing more but a wish that we may live more fully. The woolly caterpillar freezes to death in a winter and comes back to life in the spring. For 14 years, it goes through the same cycle of awakening, waiting until the final year when its work is complete, then spins itself into a cocoon to be reborn a moth and fly away for good. So sleep now, sweet sister. You've surrendered your life for too many winters. We'll take it from here. Sleep now wherever you wake. May you be reborn with wings on your back. Fly into the sun, knowing when our own winter ends, spring will come and we'll see each other again. But until then, yeah, put in a good word to God for us. APCA, thank you guys for having us, man. God bless you.
Keep it going for the Asia Project! Woo! That was amazing. All right, I need everybody to follow me. When I lift my hands, you're going to take a deep breath in. And when I let my hands down like this, you're going to moan. Oh, Jesus. All right, are you ready? Here it goes. Take a deep breath in. And moan. Good job. Now you're going to take another deep breath in. Let it out, low pitch moan. Very good. Last one. Deep breath in. Let it out, high pitch moan. Oh. Turn to the person next to you, say, nice moaning. All right. We are just getting warmed up here today, ladies and gentlemen. Our next performer, Nash Fun.